Chiquita. Chiquita banana. Hey, how's it going? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adam Pecora here for another fantastical, whimsical edition of Requiem for a Tuesday. A whole lot of big things going on. Hope you listened to the last episode, but if you didn't, a lot of big news. So just going to recap that real quick before we get down to brass tacks. So, after the many months of deliberation, of pining, hustling, scrapping, diversifying my investments, I finally got the merch store up and running. So that's very exciting. Not a lot of crazy items, I'm not exactly doing my Supreme collab yet, but we'll get there. RFAT.bigcartel.com. Also, yeah, just before I get into the other many things that I'm going to mention here that aren't that many things, going forward, starting with last episode and then this one and going forward, all the links to all the stuff you'll need are going to be in the description of the episode. So, link to the store, link to the network, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, and then a link to all my other shit that I talk about all the time. So yeah, the network has expanded. This is technically I'm a big shot now, running a big ship. My buddy Justice, who was on the last episode, very talented man in the food and music and many other realms, started a fun little comedy food mini podcast on the RFAT Audio Network. So the link to the network will be in the description, wherever you're listening to this. He also does video, which I don't have the patience or production value, quality, or face to do. So, I'm a radio man. That's just how it is, It's just how it is. Some of us are in front of the camera, and then there's me. Okay. But it's very good. It's called Microwave Minutes. Go check it out. Rate, review, subscribe. Do that to my show as well, because come on, why haven't you already? 5 stars, baby. This is the best. It's the best in town. What more could you ask for? I dropped the film project that I'd been talking about that was delaying this show from being weekly, which, of course, if you're keeping up, it now is. Second week in a row, we're back, which feels good. But the film project finally dropped. I had to switch it up midway, you know what I mean? Sometimes you pull your pitcher in the 5th, and you get the collective no-hitter. It's just how it works. Can't please everybody. But yeah, I pivoted that to be a little music video thing for the EP I released earlier this year. So go check that out. That is on the Requiem for a Tuesday YouTube channel, which you can get to with the links provided. See? Building a brand here. We're cultivating strategy. You know what I mean? I'm generating clicks. My ad revenue is through the roof. Yeah. So the other linktree/RFAT will have all the other shit. Music stuff, you can get to it all through there. Everything is through there. You can get to my Instagram through there, adam.rfat. Or you can get to that stuff through the Instagram. You know what I mean? It's all connected. This is basically, there's like 3 lessons I learned from just countless hits of LSD at this point that tried to bring clarity. It takes like 8 tries just to get through to the first layer. For me, maybe I'm just too stubborn. I don't really know what it is. But it was all just bullshit dealing with the first time. And then it was like, okay, I got to get all my links together. And that's important. You got to organize your links, Because if people can't click your stuff, does it exist? You know what I mean? It's the question in today's society that we all face. Pixar, it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And then you realize, you should probably you should be nice and all that garbage. Don't fight. Wars are dumb. You figure out all that once you get through your own bullshit. Took me a long time. You realize, like, I should be nicer to my family. They didn't ask for me either to be like this. You know what I mean? So that's got to be tough. You learn, you live and you learn. But get your links together. I got mine. Check it out. Go look at all the stuff. Really long intro. That's because I went decaf today. Well, that's right. I'm not sipping anything. We're going au natural. So who knows? That this could end up being the end of my career. That doesn't exist. So we'll play it by ear. But I think we'll get by. Because there's a lot of exciting stuff to get into. We're gonna talk Peter Jackson. But not the movies you'd think. And also, when I say not the movies you'd think, the ones that you're thinking of, when it's not the ones you'd think of, it's not those either. I mean, like, it's literally not the ones you're thinking of, okay? Don't try to be smart and play a little game with me, okay? We're doing different. This is a different kind of show, all right? Go watch a Nora Ephron movie if you want to know what's going to happen at the end, okay? Because we don't play that shit here. I'm twists and turns. This is Mulholland Drive, baby. 55 miles an hour. Me and my buddies once drove a car 100 miles an hour. We worded it as across the Mason-Dixon line. Probably hasn't aged well in today's climate, but it was a good bit. So if you don't think it was a good bit, I don't really care. It was. And you can openly drink a beer while you're driving in Kentucky. While you're driving, like the driver. Pretty sick rule. It's like you can drink, don't be drunk. The rule is don't drive drunk. Right? I mean, logically. So have the 1 or 2 beers you can have legally. Have them in the car. What's the difference? You got to kill some time. Where are you going, 45 minutes? I once drank 2 beers in like a minute 45 while I was waiting for something to heat up in the microwave. I was like, I really want to have a couple beers in me for this meal, a little buzz going. But I was like, damn, I'm hungry, It was difficult. They were very cold, but you persevere and you power through. And that's really what it's all about. Jesus, I sound like Joe Biden. Stuttering over here. My mic stand, my arm thing is like broken. I'm really concerned that I didn't know. Basically, the metal is ripped. So if at any point during this episode there's a big thud, I'm going to leave it in because that just means that my entire mic setup completely broke off and fell down into my lap and possibly broke my knuckles open. It's heavy. It's a heavy mic, and it's just suspended in the air right now. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe my anxieties are just manifesting themselves into a really long intro. Maybe we're just lagging because, you shouldn't record at 9:30 in the morning without any stimulants to get you going. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. You know what I mean? We're always collecting and gathering data. What do you think Google's doing? I mean, get with the program. If it's 2020 and you're not gathering data, if you're not mining, okay, I'm going to target you. Possibly for advertising, possibly for other things. That's for me to know and for you to find out. But we'll get there. Hopefully, if we have time, we'll do a little sports corner. It's been a minute. I don't know, because I feel like I'm going to get ranty in a second with a little thing I have prepared, and then with the whole Peter Jackson promise that was made, who knows what that'll manifest itself into? Because I didn't expect 10 minutes to go by before I started, but here we are. You know, I've been listening to History Hyenas a lot, and I almost keep saying at those pauses, I almost keep saying, it is what it is, cuz. I keep saying, I almost want to say cuz, and you know what I mean? I just want to keep doing it. I listened to it too recently. I think I might have fell asleep with an episode on or something. That's usually how that goes. And then it's like, oh, I'm acting like that's my thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, you can kind of play that around people publicly that probably don't know what that is, but it's like you're going to try to act like that's your speech pattern all of a sudden when this is episode 34 and people are clearly using that. You know what I mean? It's like even if you don't know what I'm ripping off, it's like he's clearly not doing anything original here. What am I even talking about? I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's move on, okay? It's a new leaf. A little late, I got to say, given that the campaign didn't work out so much, but big news. I finally got my vote Kanye West merch in. And I'm very excited about this. Now, before you have like a heart attack or anything, it's like, no, I didn't write him in. I understand that the stakes were very high in the election, okay? I wasn't going to fuck around, even though I voted in Bernie last time because that was like my little move. I was like, look at how defiant I am. And I realize now it's like, okay, well, you know what I mean? I might as well have just jumped in a river. Like, what does that accomplish? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, look at this kid. He's really sticking it to the man. It's like, no, that just means that nothing happened. You know what I mean? So I learned that lesson the first time. But either way, like, I can do whatever I want. But like I bought a hoodie, relax. If he was on the ballot though, like straight up, like Democrat, Republican, one of the two, I'm voting for him. That's my guy. You know what I mean? And that's my celebrity choice. Everybody gets their celebrity choice. You know what I mean? A bunch of people voted in Schwarzenegger. A lot more people voted in the Don, the biggest con man of all time. So, you know what I mean? He's not even rich. And everybody's like, look at how rich he is. It's like, he's not even rich, So it's like, let me take my guy, my hero. I don't doubt him. I believe in him. Always have. Always will. Actually successful. Sorry, I don't abandon my heroes and people that mean a lot to me like you guys do, just because they sneezed weird in like '03 or whatever. Just bought some merch. That's all it was. You know what I mean? He wanted to sell hats. Does that sound familiar? Gee, when has a guy used running for president to sell hats? Let's think about that. And these are way cooler. They look great. Black and white. I'm not big on the snapback element of it, of the hat, but the hoodie. Okay, this is why I wanted to bring it up. Okay, I didn't want to do the whole thing. It's not a political thing. I just wanted a hoodie, from the guy. And because this was also the logic I put into it. It's like, okay, if he's selling the hoodie, it's got to be pretty nice, right? Because he's always wearing nice shit. And now he's manufacturing clothes. So I'm like, okay, I wonder if this is going to be like some Adidas shit that I'm going to get like on the low. Because, for his price points, this shit was cheap, right? So I'm like, okay, what's this going to end up as? And then I was like, is it going to show up like on Gildan? Like anybody could have just printed these and it was just like a big ploy to just steal a bunch of cash for no reason. Now, that was a concern, and that would be a very common political move, but I will happily say that my instinct was correct. And, I just want to marvel in the design. That's really all I'm trying to do here. So, listen to this. I don't care how interesting or uninteresting this is. You know what I mean? I just got to give credit where credit is due because this much didn't have to go into this. You know what I mean? So it's just like the dimensions of it are a little weird. It's like short waist, But I think that that's intentional because it's like a swag thing. You know what I mean? Like people like to have the shirt hang. I intentionally do not. I like my hoodie to be the biggest thing I have on. So that's just a personal preference thing. That's the one negative for me, right? But at least it's not like that really strong elastic. Cannot stand really strong elastic on a crew neck or hoodie. It's like if I pick my arms up for anything or bend over for anything, my shirt is going to shoot above my belly. You know what I mean? Like I'm an 11-year-old boy doing cartwheels in the gym. It's embarrassing. Why are you putting this that tight? And then on sleeves too, like just because like that's just uncomfortable on your wrists. You know, your wrists get hot. I hate it when my wrists get hot. Because what a specific sensation that is. You know what I mean? Who's into that? I'm certainly not. Okay? That's all I got to say. But so like and then the wrist elastic itself on this, it's like really long, which I've never noticed. I don't know. Not a lot of things have that I have. I don't have a lot of nice things is also a thing. My thing is this is the nicest thing I have, and it's not the most expensive in terms of hoodies, and I'm a big hoodie guy. Okay? So that's why this is all coming up. But it's like nice and long, and it's like it clearly is a thing that like will hold it in place, but it doesn't clamp. Wrists don't get hot, but you also don't get the fucking little boy wearing his dad's jacket thing where it's like hanging down, because clearly like they made it so it's like a nice one size fits all actually. You know, there was like thought into it because I'm mostly torso also, so that's why it seems kind of short on me. My leg to torso ratio, I'm like a 40-60 leg torso. You know, it's not great. So that's why that thing is like especially a thing, but also in turn, the things that I wear need to cover the torso. The sleeves end up gigantic. You know, so saves me a lot there. And like it was like the materials are just really nice, thick, dense. You know, it seems well built, well put together. It's comfortable, all that. The hood is designed like to not use strings, but it like still fits and like surrounds my head. I have a pretty big head, so that might just be me. You know, if you got a little head, it might drape over you a little bit. I don't know, but cool thing. You know, it's just like a uniform, fits his whole minimal aesthetic. It's beautiful. I fit it. I feel it. I love it. You know, I'm on the same page. I'm here for it, as the young kids might say. And just a crazy thing, like the ink is all over the front of it, like really, really, really thick. And then it like goes over the pocket, right? So you like see how thick it is over the edge. And then like you try to put your hands in the pocket, and the material is made out of like a weird sticky fabric. So it like keeps the design in place when you're not using the pocket. Crazy. Okay? The future of hooded wear is on the way. I have 3 shares currently in Gap. I'm hoping to buy more before the thing drops, because that shit's going to escalate. And if you're not getting in on Gap, I don't know what you're doing. So welcome to new segment, stock tips. Here we go. Just kidding. But do it. Get some Gap. Let's go. Let's raise it up. I want to make some cash. And I'm definitely going to be buying some Yeezy stuff. Get the hoodie. Get the Gap. Let's do it. Okay? Just stop denying it. Just stop denying it. You know, just be objective. Okay? Grow up. With that, though, I just want to say, I mean, I really hate doing political stuff, but this whole thing, this whole election and whatnot has made me realize a lot. Like, first and foremost, like, I'm certainly not a Democrat. If I ever thought I was or whatever, I mean, I just realized that, like, clearly 2 elections in a row, like, we're not on the same page. They don't share the values that I share, and it's kind of bullshit. You know, I'm a Bernie guy. Big Bernie guy. They clearly don't want him. He was thrown aside. You know, you vote Democrat, it's the better option. You know what I mean? But I'm not happy about it. You know, and I'm all for the whole notion and narrative, if you will, that the 2-party system is stupid. I agree that it's stupid. There's no question that it's stupid. You know, we're forced into a box. It ensures that the government remains controlled just by money and tech and whatever and bullshit, and it's all awful because it's all the worst companies doing the worst things. But you just have to go with it, because unless you're going to do something to change the system, which, like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to lie, then just pick one of the two. Because if you're going to vote to protest and go third party, like, you're wasting it. Like I was just talking about, like, don't write in a guy out of principle because you don't stand for it. Because, like, go do a protest. Go outside and do it. The votes are secret. Like, vote a real vote that'll count for real and it'll matter. You voting third party is the same thing as not voting. It's just dumb. I just don't get that. And it's also just crazy, like, the outpouring still. Like, I obviously understood and I'm all for the initial, like, oh shit, let's party, victory is in hand, You can't just immediately be like, let's not bask in this gloriousness. I get it. But it's kind of like an ongoing, just consistent thing. And obviously, like, what's going on isn't, like, great, with this guy just, like, refusing to acknowledge it. It's all very bad. But how is it getting better by if you're, like, so progressive? Right? Like, all for the betterment of everything. If we want to go back to the vote Kanye example, everybody was technically on Biden's side shitting on this guy. It's like, well, you're so progressive, but you're pretty quick to silence and, like, shut up and, like, disqualify and discredit and deplatform Kanye West for all of that. But, like, you're the progressive liberal one just because he's free and, like, can do and say what he wants. It's like, yeah, shut up the black guy. Don't let him do that. We want the old grandpa. We want Papa Joe. It's like, oh, yeah, that's the cool notion. Anyway, that's just a little dig. That's not, like, a big serious thing. But you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know how you're stoked on Joey. I don't see how that's what you want. Like, it's what we got, and it's the better option that we got. Obviously. There's no question that it's a better option, but that doesn't make it good. What's going to get better? Well, what's going to change? This is the same thing. The same thing is going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be chaos now, but it's just going to be more bad shit. Just undoing the Trump stuff. Like, do you get credit for that? I don't think so. That's a no fucking brainer. All the things that people hate and are mad at, should I change those? No. You're right, I shouldn't. And it's like, oh my God, would somebody just break these walls down? It's like, no question. You're just going to immediately go in and just be like, this guy's a fucking moron. And then you just fix it all real quick. But then we're just back, It's just still 2016. Everything's still all fucked up. Plus all the new shit. You just pile it on. I mean, call me crazy. But I think that, like, if you're all about equality and fairness, as you claim, probably shouldn't round up people and make lists of people's names and try to be like, who said that they're down for this? Because we're going to get rid of them all. It's like, well, isn't that the same problem? Or, like, you're just ready to confront people. You're just ready to scream in people's faces. It's like, isn't that the same thing? Just because of what they like. Just because what they like is objectively bad. Right? Like, it doesn't mean that you're not doing the exact same thing back by screaming in their face about what you want. I'm just saying. I get that they're evil. But, like, how does it fix the divisiveness? I'm just not with it. Unity's the answer, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. This is a peace-bringing episode, okay? I'm going on the rant. We're doing it. I'm deep in it. I'm just going to keep it going. It's going to be long. I can feel it. Just ride with me on this one, okay? I don't know. I just want freedom of speech to stay a thing, freedom of belief to stay a thing, but I don't want that to mean that you should also get to be awful. That's not what I'm trying to advocate here. It's the opposite, right? I know that they're still going to suck, but they're the bad ones. You know what I mean? Like, the vote was fucking close, whether you like it or not. You know, if you want to claim it was a landslide, like, dude got 70 mil. You know? And that's terrifying. That's a lot. You know, there's a long way to go. Like, it's not over. You know, like, like, if you don't realize it, like, the people that are crazy now and doing all this crazy shit now, saying these terrible things, being public about it and all that, they felt this way the whole time. It's just now it's like they've been told it's okay. Like, nothing actually changed with those. Like, you found out about people. You know? I don't know. Just sick of everyone, like, waiting and, like, trying to lecture. It's just like, I can't wait for you to behave poorly so I can scream at you about it. It's like, why don't we just go back to letting everyone just do their own thing? You know what I mean? If you're anti-Trump, don't you just, like, want everybody to get along? Like, wouldn't that be the difference? You know what I mean? Like, that's Biden's whole thing. It's like, I'm trying to govern the country, not the ones I like. And it's like, listen to that part of it. That's the one thing the dude's getting right. Like, check that. Check yourself. You know, like, I don't know how to break it to you, but, like, somebody always roots for the other team. Like, there's Green Bay Packers fans out there. I don't understand it, but it's, like, something I got to live with. Right? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. They don't stand for anything good or just. You know? But not everyone's going to be on the same page as you all the time. What a crazy comparison that is. But it makes sense. I mean, you know, enough of it lines up that it's just because I say so. You know? This is just like, it's just the worst possible version of that. This is the worst possible version of finding out you're surrounded by Green Bay Packers fans. For me. And not even that I'm really one of those guys. It's just the comparison that it comes to. I don't give a fuck if you like the Packers. Lambeau's a beautiful stadium. I would love to attend a game there. Who am I kidding? You know, it's really just a Rodgers Favre thing. They're both just very unlikable people. They're assholes in very different ways, but they're both assholes. And that's just a problem. They have great uniforms, you know? Whatever. That's not the point. But, like, yeah, you know? Sometimes people are on the other side. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know? You just hope your team wins. And, like, they did. It's over. You know? You don't need, the game's over. Right? Maybe that's what we need. We need a national rollout dose. Don't send out the real coronavirus vaccine. Or maybe, well, send out the real one. But let's put some, like, LSD in everyone's dose. So maybe everyone can just, like, take a little hit and maybe we'll all just connect and come together. And then that'll just be it. We can just do, like, a global purge of negativity. One giant dose of acid for everybody. Okay? But then, like, everybody's going to, you know what I mean? Then we're going to have to listen to Fish. There's going to be a big Fish boom. That I won't really be into. Not a Fish guy. But, okay. Back to the point. I'm wrapping this up. This has gone on way too long. Just take the high road. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to walk around with your chin out high, like you're a perfect person, I just want you to think about your regrets and any bad thing you've ever done in your life. Just anything. Anything that maybe you think about and you're like, fuck, that was rough. Or maybe it haunts you. I don't know. Maybe it's real bad. I don't know what kind of skeletons you got going on. I don't really want to find out. Just think about it. And just realize, like, the only reason you haven't been, like, canceled or whatever is just because no one gives a shit. Just like with me. Nobody gives a shit. We're just regular people. Just let everybody speak is all I'm trying to say. You know, you can't get rid of all the bad people by deleting them off the internet. That's really just the point I was trying to make. You know, let everybody get their shot. We're all flawed. Nobody's perfect. You know, it just won't be trending when I fuck up. You know, when I'm accidentally rude to somebody one time or whatever, you caught me on a bad moment. I'm sorry. You know, like shit happens. Like you've been a fucking saint every day, every second. Like who the fuck do you think you are? You know, we all got to say this to ourselves. Think about it. You know, you're not better than anybody. It doesn't make you better than anybody just because you can call people out on bullshit. Put a magnifying glass on you. You're not going to look right. You know, leave everyone alone. Just leave everybody alone. If you can't handle the differences, you know, if you look in the mirror and you don't see a piece of shit, you're lying and you need to reevaluate your position. Okay? Now that's it. I'm done. It's a comedy show. Tell your friends. Jesus Christ. Didn't see that coming. But, you know, it is what it is. 'Cause Jesus. I'm sorry for ripping you guys off. It's a problem. But also, I mean, just like, come on. You know? It's a bunch of delusional conspiracy theorists who have an exponential generational selfishness and like apathy and like, you know what I mean? They're just like little spoiled brats. And I can't preach to them. So I just got to do it this way. You know? It's a long road for the good guys. It's a long road. You got to check yourself sometimes. You know what I mean? Which is the perfect transition. Actually, surprisingly, astonishingly. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Into what I think is probably going to be a very bad take. Or at least a not well received one by anybody. But like I said, like that's what I'm here for. You know, we're pivoting. I'm zagging. You know, if I could rename this show to anything, it would be Zagging with Adam. You know, everybody loves Peter Jackson. And justifiably so. I still haven't really seen like any of his movies ever, pretty much. So I can't say for sure. I definitely want to see all the old horror flicks from back in the day. They seem very, very interesting. You know, I don't know how I'll feel about it, but I'd like to check them out. Big fan of King Kong. I'll just throw that nugget in there. Saw that in theaters on Christmas, whatever year that was, 05, I think. Absolutely blown away. Okay. It's still great. Still pretty good. They definitely were on Skull Island way too long. It's definitely too long. But, I mean, I'll take it over any other version. Have you tried to watch the original? Unwatchable. You know, what can you do? It was a product of the times. Not on them. The 70s one is like shit. Or whenever it came out. It's like a completely different premise, and they like tried to do their own thing with it in all the worst ways. No interest. Got maybe 20 minutes into that one. So, no idea. And I think that that's all that's left, you know. And then there's like Mighty Joe Young, which is bullshit also. So, it was good. It's like, you know, not a big Jack Black guy, which is also probably not a good take, but like he just yells a lot. It's not talent. Not that he's not talented. Stop yelling and show your talents. Because you're good at all the other stuff. And he was very good in that movie. You know why? Because somebody put some fucking chains on him and sat him down for a second. You know, have a fucking glass of water, Jack Black. But yeah, good flick. Special effects were top notch. They might not hold up well. It was dumb that they like fell in love. Wasn't really feeling that. But led to some great sequences. You know, the ice skating thing was fun. And it added a better dynamic. I mean, if you watch the original one, also because of like the way they had to film it, but literally every time he is holding her, it is just bloody murder, top of your lungs, screaming the whole time. And it's like, yeah, I guess that is accurate, but come on. You know what I mean? Like, we get it. She's afraid. This isn't entertaining. You know what I mean? I don't know. Not into it. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about King Kong. We're talking about a trilogy. Yes. That's right. The Hobbit. Because here's the backstory on this. I mean, obviously, the Lord of the Rings trilogy was like one of the craziest projects of all time at the time. You know, so probably a precursor to the whole Marvel thing, but like, you know, on a smaller scale technically, but on one giant scale for a film production to do all that crazy shit at once. Super stoked that, like, you know, somebody can do a thing like that. You know, it's good that people are trying stuff. More things like that need to be attempted. All of that, I'm all for. And obviously the praise is boundless. And the affection cannot be contained. Here's what I'll say. I've tried to watch The Fellowship of the Ring twice, maybe twice. I'm not going to try to give myself a ton of credit here. Couldn't stand it. Shut it off. Bore fest. Snoozer. Sorry. Not interested, okay? Well, or so I thought. I mean, I am interested. That's the thing. It's like I want to get what the hype is about. It's like as a movie guy, you know, you certainly the precursor to everything should have been that I have not and will not read any of these books. So, speaking completely cinematically and ignorantly here. So, shut it off if you're a Tolkien nerd, because I'm out. It's too much. I tried to read it a long time ago. Nonsense. No interest. Can't keep track of all this shit. Not a Game of Thrones guy. I'm not a fantasy guy. I don't like olden times. You know, however you want to word it. Give me lasers. That's not the reason I like sci-fi, but, you know, I like sci-fi better if I have to pick. So, you know, the odds are against me being into this. I'm not going to lie. But I'm impressed. It's winning Oscars. You know, it doesn't seem like that should be a thing for what it is. Whole lot of crazy shit's going on. Okay? And because I remember that as a kid, every year you watch the Oscars every year. And it's like Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings. It's like, are there any other movies? I'll hear about 3 years in a row. Yeah, I'm watching the Oscars when I'm 7. If you're not, you should, you know, get your kids on it. It's important. I do rep Elijah Wood though. I will say that. You know, Wilfred was good while it lasted. You know, didn't pan out very well in the long run. First season was decent though. The Faculty, underrated Robert Rodriguez movie. Very good. Very, very good. Probably the only time I've ever liked Josh Hartnett. You know? Go listen to my Wicker Park episode if you want to hear my thoughts on that fucking asshole. But yeah. So I've tried to watch Fellowship a couple times. Didn't make it. It's hard. It's hard. You know, you got to really be in the zone. You got to be in the right mood. You would think. You know, that's the excuse that I've been giving myself. Long story short, next episode will be a Lord of the Rings episode. Or there will at least be a segment. You know, I have to at least watch the first movie as a whole. Right? But this week we're talking The Hobbit. Okay? And then I'll do like a compare contrast in the end. And we'll see just how bad this take has aged. It may only take a week. That's the exciting thing about doing weekly episodes again. You know, I can look stupid a whole hell of a lot faster now. It's like just when you thought this guy couldn't get any more fucking stupid, now he's repping The Hobbit. And you better believe that I am. Okay? I frankly loved it. Like if we're going to say as a whole, the trilogy, I loved it. Now, do I have my nitpicks? Absolutely. I don't really see how you could adapt a thing, whether someone is a fan of it or not, and just not include things that people don't like. You know what I mean? You're going to include too much that people from that like aren't fans of the book won't get. That's clearly a thing that happens with me the whole time. And there's probably going to be a million things in the book that you either included and shouldn't have, people think, or vice versa. You missed it. How could you miss this? Whatever. So, I mean, I just didn't like the whole Gandalf side thing. I didn't get, and I later found out that that's because it's an important thing for the next movie. So that's huge. I guess in the book he just leaves and they don't show what happened, and then you find out what happened in Fellowship. But it's cool that they kind of built the whole narrative so you know what's actually going on. It would be weird if he just disappeared and came back. Kind of. I guess that would also be pretty interesting. It's like, where the fuck were you? He's like, don't worry about it. But then that would also seem like pretty lazy, which maybe it was, Tolkien. I don't fucking know. I don't really care. I gotta say, see, the thing that drew me into the first Lord of the Rings, though, on site is obviously, as everybody loves, the Hobbit homes. They're fucking amazing, and Bilbo's house is dope. It's so sick, and yeah, and the first movie was my favorite. Let's just say it like that. From what I've read, it is everybody's least favorite and got the most complaints, and that's the biggest problem. It was a fun hang. I loved hanging at the house for a long time. It was dope. In Fellowship, I wish they were chilling at the house more, because then they're just in a field for a really long time right after. That's how I remember it anyway. They're hanging at the house, a bunch of crazy shit's happening. All these characters are interesting and fun. They're singing songs and they're doing things. It was a good hang. I had a good time. And I was sucked in. Basically what happened was like I had been thinking about trying to watch this. I was like, maybe I need to see this to watch The Lord of the Rings. It's the first book. Truly, And at the time, like when it was coming out, I'm like, why are they releasing one book as a trilogy? That's insane. Because it was especially during that trend where every fucking young adult novel movie adaptation had to be split into two parts because everybody just needed to cash in. It's like as if the last book was so fucking epic that it had to be made into two movies. Which didn't make any sense. It's like they're all the same length. Or it's like you've adapted longer ones into a movie already. It's a blatant cash grab and you're like ruining your own franchise by just trying to profit off of it and turning this other movie into nothing. You know what I mean? You're splitting up when you shouldn't split up. So that was the thought. So I was like, they're going to put it into 3 and then they're all 3 hours? It's like, Jesus, what is this book? 10,000 pages? And then it's like, no, it's not. It's just as short as all the other ones. So that seems like it wouldn't work. I think it worked. I think it probably could have been 2 movies. But that's really only because the third movie wasn't much of a movie. But I don't think they could have done the smog thing plus the army thing in one movie without it like just being too fast. I think they stretched it out too long, but there was no way to do it in 6 hours. They needed like 8 and they used like 9, which is too much. You know what I mean? It was like just off. So that's where I started, and I kind of think they pulled it off. It was a stretch, but I think that they got there. Okay? So I'm going to just say that off the boat. That's the most shocking thing, Because it's like, by that logic, shouldn't the first 3 movies be 9 movies, which would just be fucking chaos. But anyway, I like them hanging out. And then as soon as they leave, there's a bunch of different things just keep happening. And it was a ton of fun. And then, it ends a little abruptly, but it's like, yeah, it's a third of a book. What do you think? And I just think that enough cool things happened throughout it that, like, I don't know, I was interested at every turn. It just kept changing, kept shifting. And I didn't know. And again, I didn't know the whole story. I thought it was just he got the ring. Like literally, I thought The Hobbit was just the story of how he got the ring. I didn't even know about Smog. I didn't know any of it. I'm that ignorant to the whole thing. So maybe that's what it is. I'm just that big of a sucker. But I also don't know what happens in the other 3 books. And I don't know. Plus, I think Bilbo is cooler than Frodo. Again, from the little amount that I've seen. That's what I'm saying. These takes aren't going to be great. I don't think. I don't know. But they're really good movies. They're fun. The second one, there's a lot of spiders, and they're giant. Giant spiders are kind of easy because that's so absurd that I can handle it. It's the more realistic, the harder it is. You know, you could show a 1-inch spider on a TV, and it'll freak me out. But it's like any like I can watch 8-legged freaks all day. You know, me and my guy David Arquette love chilling. And that kind of thing. So that was a little tough though, because there are some shots where they just kind of show one of them, and like mouth and eye stuff, like intricate spider parts. Not into that. Barely was able to look. I won't lie. And also Gollum was in the first one, I think. Was that the second one? Might have been the first one. I don't know. It was awesome. All parts of it were awesome. The goblins and stuff. It was dope. Y'all are some fucking haters. I think everybody just wanted it to suck so bad because they're all fanboys for the original ones. I don't really know. Again, hot takes that are nonsense. I'm just speculating because I'm defensive over this series as if it was my own already. All I did was watch 3 movies. And then, I don't know. The second one was good. They kind of introduced that guy weird. The guy who ends up being like the king of the entire other human people. Whatever. Bard. Boy, this was a tough topic to cover. I didn't really think this through. I'm just like, yeah, let me just talk the Hobbit trilogy like everybody's seen it. I mean, they made a lot of money, I guess, but it's not popular. That's what I'm trying to do, though. Like, go watch. They're good. I think that part of the issue is, I think, for me, it's just an unfortunate circumstance that happens to be a thing, is my guess, okay? I think that the Hobbit movies probably sucked to see in a theater. Because, especially if you're somebody who's like real hype for this event, I could see why maybe spending, an hour in Bilbo's house might be a bummer for you because you were trying to see this epic tale. But it ends up happening. So the thing is, I was able to watch all 3 in a row, basically. I did it over 3 days, but, I didn't have to wait a year. 1. 2, they did like the frame rate thing, and I guess that wasn't appealing to see, and it was like Ultra HD on top of that, and I guess that didn't look good. Looks fine on a TV. Didn't notice any problems. I thought the whole movie looked great. I mean, I don't really have anything else to add, so I paused there for a second. It's like, it looks great. I didn't really have any beef. Every once in a while, the guy looks a little silly, but that's just a thing in every fantasy movie ever. They look silly. And I think maybe The Lord of the Rings was a masterful cinematic theater experience. And trying to watch it on TV doesn't justify. Especially because definitely one, if not both of the times I tried to watch it, was on a full screen DVD edition. So, I mean, I'm openly burying myself in this terribleness, but I'm also standing by it. I'm standing by my own grave of bad decisions. I have integrity. I did think it was dumb that the dragon talked, but if that's part of the book, then that's just dumb. Period. That's just not my thing. Also, it was a little disappointing. I feel like they defeated him pretty easily. He did a lot of damage, but it's like, wasn't this guy wreaking terror over all these people for, like, ever? It's like, was that easy? That part's a little rough. So if it happens that quick, again, if that's just part of the adaptation, I guess, whatever, but maybe that's the thing you change for the movie. I don't know. But it also was just part of the journey, so I don't know. It's very hard to gauge. Just a little nitpick. What can I say? And I also thought I'd be turned off by the fact that the dragon is played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who I'm not a fan of, but he did a good job, and you can't really tell that it's him. which is why I'm okay with it. Because I'm not a fan. You know, he shouldn't have played Khan. I don't care. You just shouldn't have accepted the role. Initially, I was okay with it, but just over time, it's like, it's just not right. It doesn't make any sense. If they were to make that movie now, Jason Momoa, perfect Khan, boom. Missed opportunities. I blame J.J. Abrams. He never cared enough, I don't think. I think he was always just trying to get Star Wars. I think he knew it was coming. New hot theory I just came up with right now. Could be true, could be baseless. Doesn't matter. Sounds good. I'm going to run with it. Put it on Fox News, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of which, just one last little political pundit if my 30-minute rant on how you suck wasn't enough. I just love that they're all like, Fox News is like, yeah, he lost, and now they're like, Fox News has been contaminated by liberals. Don't trust him. We got new news now. It's like, okay, we have new news now. Like, that's enough. That just works, and it's amazing how dumb, like, the level they go to, and it just still is effective. I don't know. You know, it just came up. Star Trek, you know, I'm a logic-based guy. I'm a Spock guy. I relate. So I don't see it. I just don't see how it makes any sense to anyone anywhere. Like, I'm just as flabbergasted as everybody else. If that wasn't clear in my anti-positivity rant. Or I guess it was a pro-positivity rant. But it was like, hey, well, you know, get off your fucking high horse, buddy. Anyway, we don't need to keep going with that. And the third movie, you know, it's basically one big fight. And a lot of the sequences were dope and really well done. I thought all the special effects were awesome throughout the whole thing. I don't know. I was into it. I thought he spent a little too much time being invisible because they do like a weird visual thing when he puts the ring on and becomes invisible. Not a fan of that. You know, it was just too long. And then it all ties back to Fargo, which I've been watching. You know, I was like, oh my God, that's the guy from the first season of Fargo. Now I get why that was a big deal that he was in it. This guy's like a star guy. I didn't realize he was a star. You know. I have to do my Fargo thing. I'm waiting for the 4th season to finish. You know, because then I can just do them all. So that's coming. Just be ready for that. Then I'll probably rewatch the movie. Which, spoiler alert, on this hot take episode, I'm not a fan of. So, basically, if you like anything that anybody thinks is good, I'm going to tell you it's not. Just kidding. But, you know, the third movie was fine. It's just one big fight. And then it does wrap up pretty clean and neat real quick. Which I'm never a fan of, but, you know, that's the thing. It's a fairy tale. So I feel like all my gripes that happened in the movie were just like part of what I wouldn't like about it, period. You know? So, I'm a big fan. I say go rewatch it. It's on HBO. If you don't have HBO, get HBO. What are you doing? You know, I use somebody else's. I don't pay for it. You know somebody who pays for it. Just trade them. Tell them to cancel their whatever, and they can have yours, and then boom. You know what I mean? Just grow up. If you're not watching HBO at this point in your life, it's like you want to just watch Sesame Street? Oh wait, you can't cuz it's on HBO. You know what I mean? You're not even watching good children's television. Was that a good bit? I don't think that was that good. But that's okay. Still, though, watch fucking HBO. Come on. because I'm gonna in the middle of talking about Fargo season 3. That's when the leftovers rant is coming, and it'll be long because I will lobby for that program for as long as I can. I mean, I can't give up on it. Why is nobody watching it still? Where's its post career? Where's its Breaking Bad roughneck lifestyle? I don't even know what that means. But I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, watch the fucking Hobbit trilogy. It's sick, okay? It's underrated. I don't understand where so much negativity comes from because like the Lord of the Rings franchise is so infinitely praised, right? Like some of the highest regarded movies like of the century, I was going to say of all time, and that might be crazy. But that also might be accurate. I don't really know. But even if you look at like Oscar terms, like some of the biggest winners of all time, and then the Hobbit trilogy comes out, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, this is just kind of like bullshit." And it's like, what's the difference? So I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna answer my own question. It won't just be rhetorical nonsense. You'll only be mad at it until the next episode comes, unless I think I was right in the end, which I almost hope isn't the case because I don't want to be the guy with that opinion, really. Because, like, who am I going to convince? You know what I mean? I don't think anyone's going to change their mind. And they probably shouldn't. Maybe don't say it's better, but maybe say it's better than you thought. That's all I want. Because, like, a 55% is effectively a shitty movie. If we're going to go tomato score or whatever, like, its Metacritic is only like a 5.8 or something. Get the fuck out of here. Especially that first one. It's sick. Would have been cool if Guillermo del Toro did it, I guess, but it had to be Peter Jackson. He had to do all of it. And they should there's like one more big book, I think. They should do that one too. Just do it. Do one movie though, or maybe do it like Dune, split it up into 2 like Villeneuve is doing. Whatever. Don't do 3 again though. That's my lesson. Okay? Don't make one book 3 movies. I think that's just what it was. It was just a tall task. I think that there's no way to break it up so that when somebody pays $18 to see it, they're happy with it, and that's just my guess. I'm hoping for the critical reevaluation of the trilogy so that this take can age well. I want to be the first guy to say that this shit rips, and you gotta go watch. Go watch all 3 of them, one sitting. It helps if you have a nice speaker. Incredible score. The score was amazing throughout the whole thing. I'm just saying, I think it'll at least be on par. That's really what the argument is here. I don't see any way that they're not at least equal. I think y'all are haters, and everybody made a big mistake. Okay? So we'll see. We'll see how well that aged next week. Because, again, we are back weekly. Don't forget, buy some merch. RFAT.bigcartel.com. Linktree/RFAT. Linktree/RFAT Audio. That's the network. Go watch Microwave Minutes. Go to my Instagram, adam.rfat. It's all branded. It's all connected. Okay? Links in the description, wherever you're listening. That's just my final plug. So when the episode ends, it can end, but it's not over yet because I'm just going to do a quick sports corner. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's favorite segment is back. I need to get like a jingle or a slogan or something to put in there because now like we're just in it. Nothing signaled that we're in it other than me saying it. You know what I mean? I got to up the value of this thing. My mic stand's broken. It's fucking amateur hour. I can literally like rip the metal off if I force it enough. That's how cheap this fucking thing was. So we're gonna invest, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I'll get better equipment overall if you just go buy some fucking microphone. I'm just kidding. I love you. I'm not a petty guy. Maybe I am. Listen, I just want to say that right now, the NFL is looking pretty crazy. The playoff picture is intense. We're more than halfway through the season. Everybody's really trying to figure out who they are. The Bears, probably last-ditch effort tonight. If they don't beat the Vikings, I'm giving up on the season. Nagy finally gave up play calling. If this doesn't make a difference, then the team is just bad. There's nothing left to blame. I mean, the offensive line is clearly horrific and awful, but I think that the team is good. They're just not calling plays to fit the offensive line that they have, and I think that if they can make the adjustments that are necessary, they can do that. I don't think the run game will be good, but it can be better. David Montgomery clearly has talent. It's the line's fault. That's all I'm saying. And Jimmy Graham, terrible free agent signing. Very upset about that. He's lazy, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And, yeah, he looks good when the ball falls in his lap, but if it doesn't, he can't do anything else, and it's pathetic, and we're paying him $9 million. And yet they still haven't extended Allen Robinson, who is going out there getting his ass fucking torn apart every week and still is like top 10 in the NFL in receiving. On that anemic bullshit offense, we've scored like as many points. Like, we're on the same scoring trajectory as like the Jets. Like, our defensive scoring is like top 3 in the NFL. You know what I mean? It's like if we could just score like 23 points a game, we would be beating everybody. And it is just not fair because the level of ineptitude is like insane. Like the way the Colts are, like I get that their line's good and that's the big problem, but I mean everybody else that just like has a good defense, they can do something on offense. And even teams that don't, like even teams that are just bad, can move the ball. The Jags almost beat the Packers. Their offense looked better than the Bears do most of the time, at least consistently. It's just crazy. Look, but I think the real thing here is just that I want to go. Most of my takes are pretty great. If you want to go listen to my season predictions, they're going well, except for the Texans. That's a fucking dumpster fire. But I've covered that, especially after that DeAndre Hopkins massive Hail Mary touchdown yesterday. I was shocked. I was lucky I didn't have anything in my hands at the time because I would have dropped it along with my jaw. Amazing play. They're like the future of the NFL. That pair, DeAndre Hopkins is like 27 or 8 or something. Like, and he's just going to be with Kyler Murray. Like, oh, Fitz is out? No problem. Here's DeAndre Hopkins. And then they're probably going to grab a guy in the draft next year who's going to be like a dank number 2. The team's scary. They're going to be good for a long time, I think. That's a bold prediction because who fucking knows? But they're really good. The NFC East is more embarrassing than anyone ever would have thought. And then I really hope the Eagles don't win the division just out of embarrassment. Because, I mean, it really looks like the winner might be like 5-10 and 1, if it's the Eagles, or 5-11 or whatever. Like, they're bad. New Orleans is bad. I don't get how they keep winning. Like, their defense is great. Their offense is not good. Just stop Alvin Kamara. I know that sounds easy, but like just cover him. Put your best guy on him, frankly, like if you have to, if that's what it comes to. Because like the Michael Thomas thing isn't happening. The receiving thing isn't happening. You put everybody in a zone within 15 yards, and then you put your best guy man-to-man on Kamara every play, and then just see how that goes. I don't know. Give it a shot, because nobody can fucking stop that guy. He's the whole team. He's the whole team. Especially when the Bears played him. It's just infuriating. It's just infuriating. We just didn't guard them. They didn't have their top 2 or 3 receiving options. It's like, who do you think they're giving the ball to? But now Breeze is hurt. They're going to put in Jameis. I hope he plays out the season and crushes it. If they would have played Teddy last year, they would have won the Super Bowl. Should have kept Teddy. Move on. Look at what happened with the Patriots. They had to trade their succession plan because Tom Brady was still good. Now they're 4-5. You know what I mean? If they had Jimmy G, maybe they'd be better. Maybe they wouldn't. They probably wouldn't. I actually love them with Cam. I hope they sign him to an extension. And I think that team is good. It's a weird take because they're 4-5 and they've looked awful. They still went 12-4 last year. I get the defensive opt-outs. That's where the big difference comes in. The offense is the same, though. And I think that they're better with Cam Newton than this Tom Brady. And, they're just not. Tom Brady just doesn't make mistakes in crucial moments. Everybody else does. Like, literally everybody else. I guess not like Rodgers and Breeze. But you know what I mean? Like, basically, literally everybody else will do it at some point, and it won't be that shocking. You know what I mean? Like, there's very few guys that you expect them not to make a mistake. Like, it's not shocking that Cam Newton made a mistake to lose them that Bills game. Or that they couldn't go down and score and beat Denver. But those two losses shouldn't be losses, given the situation. They should have won the games. They're not, you know what I mean? And, like, those were bad losses because of that. But they were right there, right in it. So what makes them a shitty team? A close loss? I wouldn't say so. Now, almost losing to the Jets, pretty bad. I won't deny that. But they pulled it out. And I don't know. Who knows? They're playing Houston next. I just think there's a scenario where they end up above 500 and, give Belichick some credit. Everybody just wants to grill him. And, yeah, the last few drafts weren't successful. And, yeah, there are examples of good players that came out of the drafts. There's good players that come out of every draft. You should roast every GM that missed every guy every time. Now, I get he hasn't been successful for a minute. That must be frustrating. But I would know what that's like. A lot of teams know what that's like. Most teams suck at drafting all the time. It just didn't work out recently. Doesn't make him bad at it. Everybody just wants these hot takes. He's done. He should be fired. It's like, are you out of your fucking mind? He's the best ever. Shut the fuck up. Don't change your take for the moment. Just believe in what you believe in. That goes back to my rants for the whole thing. Just, the beginning of the episode, I went crazy. Whatever. That's it. Just whatever. Just believe what you believe. Stick to it until you have a reason not to. Not because it's the trendy thing to do. Boom. Look at me. I just solved world peace. Just kidding. I don't care. Leave me alone. Leave everybody alone. Just have a good time. Go buy it. Go get a beer. Drink a beer on the porch. I don't know what to tell you. Go watch The Hobbit. It's fucking good. That's all I got. I got to stop. We'll see how it aged. All right? Tune in next week. And never forget, I are fat. You are fat. We are fat. Calculator.